It always started with something small. One text, one unanswered message, one look that felt just a little off. That was all it took for Maya's mind to spiral. She could be lying in bed, scrolling through her phone, when her boyfriend's reply came a bit later than usual. Just a few words, maybe missing a heart emoji. Nothing huge, but inside her head, it was like someone had hit a red alarm button. Did I say something wrong? What if he's mad? What if he's getting bored of me? Her heart rate would pick up. Her chest would feel tight. Her mind would go into overdrive, replaying their last conversation over and over like a broken tape. She'd imagine entire stories about how he was losing interest, drifting away, already halfway out the door, and all of it, every bit of it, was happening only in her head. Maya wasn't dramatic. She wasn't trying to create problems. She was just stuck in a loop. A quiet, exhausting, invisible loop called overthinking. And the worst part, she couldn't turn it off. No matter how many times her fears turned out to be wrong, no matter how many reassurances she got, no matter how many people told her to just stop worrying, she couldn't stop the spiral. It felt automatic, like her brain was wired to find problems, even when everything seemed fine. That's what overthinking does. It convinces you that something's wrong. Then it keeps digging until it finds something that feels like proof. And once it does, it holds on with both hands. But why? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do smart, kind, self-aware people like Maya get trapped in thoughts that only make them feel worse? The answer is surprising. It's not because we're weak. It's not because we want drama. It's not even because something is actually wrong. We overthink because our brains are trying to protect us. You see, human brains are wired for survival. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors had to be on high alert for real dangers, predators, threats, harsh environments. The brain that could detect a problem early was the brain that kept its owner alive. Fast forward to today. There are no lions hiding behind bushes, but our brain still acts like there are. That's the twist. Your brain thinks that if it keeps analyzing, if it keeps preparing for the worst, it can keep you safe from pain. That text message that seemed cold, your brain believes that if it plays out every bad possibility, it'll be ready. It's trying to help, but in trying to protect you, it exhausts you. It creates fear where there is none. It turns small moments into emotional emergencies. This is why Maya kept falling into the same loop. Her brain thought it was keeping her safe from heartbreak by analyzing every detail, but all it really did was make her afraid of everything. That's where cognitive behavioral thinking comes in. Cognitive behavioral thinking, or CBT-style thinking, is based on one powerful idea. It's not the situation that causes your feelings. It's how you interpret the situation. Let's go back to Maya. She gets a text that says, "Sorry, busy day. Talk later." Old interpretation. He's mad. He's losing interest. Something's wrong. New interpretation with cognitive behavioral thinking. He's probably tired. He said he's busy. That makes sense. I don't need to fill in the blanks with fear. Same message. Two different thoughts. Two completely different feelings. That's the power of cognitive behavioral thinking. It teaches you to catch the thought before it spirals, to challenge it instead of believing it automatically, to replace it with a thought that's helpful, not harmful. Here's what Maya started doing. First, she practiced catching the thought. She'd pause when the overthinking started and ask herself, "What thought just ran through my head?" Then, she'd challenge the thought. She'd ask, "Do I have real proof this is true, or is this just fear?" Finally, she'd choose a better thought. Something like, "I don't know the full story, and that's okay. I'm allowed to be at peace, even with uncertainty." It wasn't magic. It took practice. But each time she did it, Her brain learns something new. I don't have to chase every scary thought. I can choose peace. Research backs this up. A study published in Journal of Anxiety Disorders found that people who used cognitive behavioral strategies had a significant reduction in rumination. That's the fancy word for overthinking and anxiety over time. They weren't taught to think positive. They were taught to think clearly. That's the real win, not fake confidence, but real clarity. And here's something else Maya learned, something that changed her completely. Worry is a misuse of the imagination. Dan Zadra. That quote hit her hard, because she realized all her creativity, all her energy, all her imagination was being used to create pain instead of peace. What if she used that same imagination to trust, to hope, to breathe? Over time, Maya began to do exactly that. She started applying cognitive behavioral thinking to other moments, too. When she didn't get immediate feedback at work, instead of thinking, "They hate my idea," she reminded herself, "People are busy. Silence isn't rejection." When a friend took longer to reply, instead of assuming they're upset with me, she said, "It's okay to not always know what others are thinking. I can still choose calm." These small shifts added up. Her chest didn't feel so heavy. Her sleep improved. Her relationships got stronger. But more than anything, her mind became a gentler place to live. Because overthinking isn't just annoying, it's exhausting. It steals your present. It steals your joy. It makes you afraid of things that haven't even happened. But when you learn to think differently, when you learn to pause, catch, challenge, and change your thoughts, you take back your power. You don't become someone who never worries. You become someone who doesn't let worry drive the car. And that changes everything. So if you're someone who overthinks about texts, decisions, conversations, or life in general, let this be your reminder. You are not alone. You are not broken. And you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are the one who can change them. You are the one who can build a new pattern. Every time you pause and ask, "Is this thought helping me or hurting me?" you're already breaking the cycle. Every time you choose to trust instead of fear, every time you choose curiosity over control, every time you choose peace over panic, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it that the world isn't out to hurt you. You're teaching it that uncertainty doesn't have to be the enemy. You're teaching it that calm is a choice, and you can make it. So, the next time your thoughts start racing, slow down and ask yourself, "What story am I telling myself right now?" And then ask, "Is there a better one I could tell?" Because the surprising reason you overthink isn't because you're broken. It's because your brain is trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. But now, you know something it doesn't. There's a better way. And every time you practice cognitive behavioral thinking, you're not just escaping the overthinking trap. You're building a bridge to freedom. So, believe this. You are capable of peace. You are stronger than your fears. And your thoughts don't have the final word, you do. Keep going. Keep choosing clarity. And most of all, keep believing in your power to change.